Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Food, Wine, and Whiskey in Your Own Backyard. I am Rob, your host, and with us, as always, co-host Carter. I like that. I like how that sounds, co-host Carter.
Double C,
He's the CHC of the show.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, well, how you feeling tonight, man? You feeling
I'm happy.
like...
I'm very happy because we're in the world that I love.
Yeah. The world of...
Wine.
Yeah.
Yeah. No whiskey tonight. We've done a few whiskey shows, last few episodes. We're diving back into the vino.
I love it.
And we have a special guest joining us tonight. You want to introduce who's...
Well, this is my neighbor, Francois, and he's doing his first podcast ever.
You know, people hear the name Francois, no pressure. They're going to think probably French, which
Always
means,
oui.
you know, the best wines in the world are made where?
By the French people.
So, okay. The bar is high tonight.
Yeah.
The bar is high.
But we love Napa, too.
That's what we're going to talk about. I was just getting ready to say that. And we're not even going to talk about French wines.
Yeah. So tonight, I don't know, how did this come about exactly?
You?
I guess it was me. So,
you called last week and said, what are you doing next Saturday?
That's right. And I was like, let's do dinner and let's do a wine podcast.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to talk like Napa, Sonoma, and we didn't really have like a specific
you don't have an outline
or anything. And then a couple nights ago, I'm like, you know what? While we're talking about all this stuff, and you know how the conversation goes, sometimes we have a subject and we stick to it, and sometimes we just kind of go all over the place.
Most times.
But, correct. But what I was thinking is, let's do a really cool comparison. I love Zinfandel. I'm a huge fan. So I wanted to do a Zinfandel blind, and I wanted to do a cab blind. And because, Cabernet Sauvignon is like fantastic. Love it. And I love big Napa cabs.
And cab is king in Napa. We all know that.
Yeah. So the idea was, okay, so there's some wineries I really like in Sonoma. So we were going to kind of do, initially, I think we were going to do just a comparison between a Zin and a Cab from Napa and Sonoma, and then a cab from Napa and a cab from Sonoma. So now we're doing a complete blind of all of them, and let's see if this blind makes me look like a total idiot.
Nah, well, and to be fair, to let everybody know, we know what wines were poured.
I actually don't know what your wines were poured.
Oh, you didn't look at them?
No.
I didn't look. I saw your Zin, but I did not see the cab that you had.
Yeah.
I think I saw Francois looking at all the bottles closely.
No, I
And
don't
taking
know
notes.
I'm going definitely blind.
Are you going blind?
I'm going blind and naked.
Yeah.
Your shirt, he's taking his shirt off, Matt.
Yeah, well, that's normal.
So I know, we can tell the people what we have. I don't mind that because I know what my two are, and so we might as well tell them so they know kind of what we're drinking.
Okay.
I brought from Napa Valley. The Zin I brought is from Frank Family, which is one of my favorite Zinfandels. And to me, when you start getting into California, one of the varietals that I don't think gets enough love, if you will, is the Zin. Zinfandel, I think, is a fantastic wine. It's actually my favorite wine to have when we have pizza night. I know your wife likes the bubbles with pizza, but I'm a big fan of the Zin.
Yeah.
And just quality to price, Frank Family's $26 is what we get it for out in Katy. You can't beat the price for just
great value,
good quality wine. Yeah,
fantastic.
And then the cab we brought from Napa is one that we actually haven't had. It's one of Sandra and I's favorites, but we haven't had it in a couple of years, which is Adaptation, which is the second wine from Odette. So,
cool.
Really good wine there.
Love it.
Big cab. And that's in that, it's right at $62 is what we paid for that one.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay. So that's right in the same similar range as the two wines that I brought. So the Zin that I went with is a Seghesio Old Vines Zin from I think it's the Dry Creek Valley type area. Maybe I don't know. I might be wrong, but and then a Rodney Strong Rockaway Cab from 15, and the Zin was about $32 $52, and the cab was about 62, something like that.
So we're right in there. So
yeah.
we're going to talk a little bit about Sonoma, a little bit about, and I'll be honest with you, I've been to Napa multiple times, love Napa. I've never been to Sonoma. Francois, have you?
I've been to Sonoma.
Okay, and Sonoma is spread out and big, and have you gotten through there quite a bit, or have you just
Not just once, maybe 15, 20 years ago.
It's been that long,
It's been a long time, and got some nice wineries out there in Napa. And then I have some family that makes wine in Napa also.
Well, we need to give a little shout out
Well,
there.
yeah, absolutely.
So if anybody, Jean Dubois,
that sounds French too.
Is French, and my niece makes it out there, and she's been doing it for 5-6 years. And she does her own podcast every so often. And
you know the name of the podcast?
I do not.
Okay,
I do not. But fantastic wine. So
and is she the head winemaker?
She's the head winemaker for her brand, and the label is from an old French pirate that had a wooden leg. Jean Dubois means wooden leg.
So it's a real person.
Real person. And we used to have a painting that my family had for a long time, and we all 6 boys were all fought over that painting, and one of us got the painting. Wasn't I?
So, it wasn't you. I was just getting ready to ask if you won.
No, I won the elephant tusk.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right. Well, what do you say we dive into these a little bit and start talking about, let's start with Sonoma, because I don't know anything about Sonoma. I know a little. I mean, there's some wines we drink. Chalk Hill is one of our favorite wines from Sonoma, but and everybody knows Alexander Valley and, some regions there. There's some regions that I looked up and I go, I didn't know half of these. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people, I guess Silver Oak is kind of like, right on the edge of Sonoma and Napa. So that's probably your big famous winery that's there.
And they do two wines is all they do. Yeah. One from Alexander Valley and one from Napa Valley.
Yeah. That's it. But Sonoma's just really diverse in its like microclimates. Napa's, it certainly has some variations, but if you go Russian River Valley, Alexander Valley, Dry Creek Valley, they even have an area called Moon Mountain that's got some fantastic zins and cabs there too. But they're all different kind of elevations, microclimates, things like that. Don't get me talking specifics because I'll just start making stuff up. But there's a lot of variation in that area, and like you said, it's a larger area. So it's one thing that I think you get a lot of diversity there. Also, it's kind of cool because if you ever go visit, it's a little less traveled than than Napa, so you can kind of get around the crowds a little bit.
Okay. When you guys go to California, whether it be Napa or Sonoma, do you have a favorite time period when you like to go? We do.
Okay. October, when it crushes crush time. It's usually the most crowded, but the weather's nice.
Yeah.
We like to go that third week in February. It's after the holidays. Nobody's there. Now, it's not beautiful with all the grapes hanging on the vines and they're not doing crush or anything, but what we enjoy is we get the opportunity to sit down with winemakers because they're really not doing anything. They're waiting for the vines to come back to life where they can start pruning and doing things. So we really enjoy being able to go in some of these places, sit down and have a conversation with the people who are putting their fingers in the dirt and making the wine. And that's what I like to learn about, not just drink it.
You've got a good point there. I always tell people, I don't like to tell a lot of people, but people who I'm friends with, I know Francois knows like New Orleans extremely well because I think you pretty much spent most of your life.
Most of my lifetime, yes.
There. But and I grew up in the area, and what I tell people is, if you're from the South, you're already used to the heat. So go to New Orleans in the summertime because you'll avoid all the crowds.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Prices on the hotels are lower and everything. So
really?
Yeah, it's a way better time to come.
I know we're kind of veering off the subject. We'll get right back in a minute, but that's a place my wife and I want to go visit because we've never been. I've been for work in and out, but we've never been over for a few days just to hang out and explore the food.
It's a great town, great food.
I hear it, and shame on us for living here as long as we have and never going. So we need to do that.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, I'm going to rattle off all of the different appellations or the AVAs that are in Sonoma. So we got Alexander Valley, Bennett Valley, Dry Creek Valley, Carneros, Chalk Hill, Green Valley, Knights Valley, Moon Mountain, Northern Sonoma, Rock Pile, Russian River Valley, Sonoma Coast, Sonoma Mountain. I didn't know about Sonoma Mountain.
Yeah.
Sonoma Coast and Sonoma Valley I knew. And I don't know Fort Ross Seaview.
I don't know that one either, but.
So those are the different AVAs that make up Sonoma. And I've heard some Sonoma producers talk about they wish that, within an AVA they could narrow it down a little bit more, almost like they do in Old World, because they said we get lumped into, whatever's thought of in this particular AVA. And if you narrow it down to where we're at and we're doing estate wines and things like that and making some great things, it's still not thought of because all they hear is it comes from this AVA.
Oh, yeah.
So it has a certain, reputation or whatever.
Well, I think, so one of the wines, I think the Zin that I brought is from Rockpile, but I think on the label it actually says, and I might be wrong, but I think it says Dry Creek Valley, which a lot of times people consider like Rockpile as like a part of Dry Creek Valley or whatever. So
that's kind of an example.
So anyway.
So, okay, your favorite producers in, now let me ask you this. Do you have producers that you like because you find their wines in the grocery stores? Or have you went and found wines that you go, okay, these are small producers, not owned by Constellation or somebody else.
Yeah.
And those are my favorite wines to go to.
Well, I mean, I'm a big Silver Oak fan. I like Silver Oak.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's a popular wine. It's a famous wine, probably priced a little higher than it needs to be, but I do like that, and I think it's a good example of getting a product from Sonoma that's just really solid. We like Gunlock Bundschuh over there. It's just a nice facility. I mean, it's a bigger wine.
Well, it's good wine too.
We like Gloria Ferrar for the bubbles over there, which is really cool.
Now, there's a few places in Sonoma that make really good bubbles, is what I've heard.
Yeah, the one that comes to mind is Gloria Ferrar because they're probably the biggest in the area. But they do a lot of they use a lot of the old world techniques. They have their caves and all this kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to choose from out there. And I'm just kind of skimming the surface. I need to dive deep into it, and just check it out.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that is.
How you like that, Francois?
I love that.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but as far as Napa goes, I did want to throw a shout out, and I know we haven't moved on to that yet, but I'm good at jumping ahead because I know you're going to talk about Napa. We just pre-gamed before this blind that we're about to do with a Zin from Napa from Schoolhouse Vineyards. I think it's in St. Helena Mountain or something like that area. Anyway, 2010, fantastic wine and a great price. So check them out. If you're ever in the area, I don't think they sell anything retail around here, but
And we're in the Houston market. I mean, if you're in a market that does, good for you. Buy it up. But unfortunately, we're not. I don't know if it's distributed.
It may not be.
I'm
it
not
may
sure
be
if it
just
is.
Winery releases and wine club only and things like that. But anyway,
But everything they make is fantastic. From Schoolhouse.
Really like
First
it.
time I had it tonight. Very good bottle.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah,
First time
I've
had
had it. Very good.
I can't believe Carter hasn't shared with you before. I apologize for that.
Yeah, I'm actually, pretty not very generous. That's the problem.
Well, I'll make him jealous because about a month ago in Naples, Florida, I did get a 1995 Silver Oak Napa Valley.
From Napa Valley?
From Napa Valley.
Oh,
yes.
nice.
Down in one-
Now you want to share, don't
Yeah.
you?
It was,
yeah,
but the bottle's gone.
Oh.
Of course, but it was.
Now you don't
But
wanna
it was a
share,
great. But it was a
Damn.
great find.
Yeah. Well, talking about 1995, we opened up. We'll see how it is. Cross our fingers, knock on wood. A 1993, one of our favorite wineries in Napa, Gerard. Good friend is the head winemaker there, and it's a 1993. I think it's an estate reserve. Is that right, Sandra? Yeah. So we're hoping that will open up and show well and and be tasty tonight for dinner. Speaking of dinner, this is food, wine, and whiskey. I mean,
we might as well mention the food.
This is going to be pretty tasty with this red wine.
Yeah, so we're doing some steaks and some crab cakes and some potatoes au gratin and some Brussels sprouts, and Francois and his wife Lori brought some awesome brownies, and Rob tried to bring a cake.
I got really close. I got to the front door.
You were right there.
I mean, I was reaching for the doorbell.
And then that cake just
said, I don't want to go in.
It's not Friday the 13th, but it thought it was.
Yeah.
It landed on the floor.
Took a nosedive, yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah. But and Lori also, Francois's wife, Lori also baked some sourdough bread for us. So
I love fresh bread, homemade bread.
Pretty cool. Like and it's a beautiful looking loaf, too. Super cool. So.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that is what she said. Yana's just like she's just nodding her head right there.
She knows what buttons are getting pushed.
Oh yeah, she knows.
That's what she said.
I'm glad you put it at number 1 this time.
Now I know
you
where
can't
it's at.
forget it. You know.
So if you start drinking tonight, and ladies, just so you guys know, if you start drinking a lot of wine tonight and you start feeling drunk, you know why that is, right? The Italians educate you on this. You know what it is?
No.
You need to eat more food. Don't stop drinking wine. You never stop drinking wine.
Just eat more.
If you're feeling a little tipsy, just eat more.
You know what? That's a good plan.
It's a European rule. I think probably in France as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, bring on the baguettes.
Yeah. Don't be like, hey, I need to slow down. No, you don't. You just need to eat more food.
Yeah.
The Italians are brilliant.
Have you gotten in the nose in these?
I'm
going to call my shot.
I was going to say I'm going to pull Carter too.
I'm going to call my shot. 1 and 4 cabs, 2 and 3 Zins.
Okay, you're calling your shot just on the nose.
Just on the nose. Now, I haven't gotten into it at all. Now, what I'll say about all of these, nice nose.
Okay, I'm going to say 1 and 2 are Zins, 3 and 4 are cabs on the nose.
Well, we'll find out, huh?
And I'm going to say 1 is Frank Family Zin. 2 is, what's the Zin you brought?
Seghesio.
That one.
Okay.
3 is the Rodney Strong, and 4 is Adaptation.
Yeah, 4 is definitely a cab. You can just tell by the color. That dark ruby.
Okay, damn it. I've gone through the nose again. I think 1 and 2 are Zins, and I think 3 and 4 are cabs. Damn.
Okay.
Anyway, it's fine.
I think Napa Valley is a great place to go. I mean, in America, in the United States, to have a place that we can kind of have wine country, true wine country that's respected around the world. We live in Texas. We live in Houston. I mean, we have Texas wine country, and it's great for a weekend trip. And I'm not trying to dog on Texas. It's really a lot of fun. But as far as the caliber of wine, they're young. I mean, you wouldn't expect them to be where Napa is right now. But Napa is just an experience. Yes. I mean, when you go, and what makes, Napa kind of unique, or not unique, but just gives you that awe factor is the mountains. It's in the valley. There's 2 mountain ranges on each side of the valley that are just so beautiful. So I love in Napa that you can get up in the morning and you see the mountain range and that fog off the water coming out of the San Francisco Bay, just that fog settles down in the valley and, 4 or 5 feet off the vineyard, above the vineyard.
Yeah.
You just see that mist and that fog just kind of over there.
Super cool.
Yeah, it's just an experience. I mean, if you can make your way to Napa, if you're into wine even a little bit, make a trip to Napa. You won't be disappointed, and I guarantee you'll be into wine a lot more after you make that trip.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll bring you cash.
Yeah, bring your cash. Yeah. Well, you're going to sign up for a lot of wine clubs because what happens is they're like, well, if you sign up for the wine club, the tasting's free or the tasting's half off or something like that. Then you leave there and you're like, wow, I have half a dozen wine club subscriptions.
Yeah, exactly. Francois, did you say what you thought they were on the nose?
I'm thinking 1 and 2 are the Zins, but that one is confusing. That one just it could be a cab.
It confused me too because it's got a jammy quality to it,
and it's got in the color.
The color as
the
well.
The color's a little darker.
Maybe that's the difference between Sonoma and Napa.
Yeah.
Who knows, But
I know we're going to get fooled, but we definitely say 4 is a cab.
I think I feel
might be
real
surprised.
confident that 4 is a cab. Really confident. And 4 has got a great nose. I mean, do you get like a little hint of like I hate to say it, like a barbecue kind of thing going on 4? Like it's like a,
Oh yeah,
it smells really good.
like some bark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's, man, that's really
reminds me of the pulled pork last night.
Dude, right on. Yeah. It's awesome.
Okay, you guys diving in for little sips?
I haven't done it yet, but should we do like a cheers here? Since we've got
Cheers.
a guest here?
Absolutely.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you.
Yes. Don't you have a sounder for that?
I think I do.
What are you doing?
Oh no, not that one. Oh, look at that! I pushed the right button. No,
Is that it? No. All right, whatever.
Moving on. Okay, I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, I'm going to give a little bit of free advice. It's all free here. If you go to Napa for the first time, my recommendation, I think most people go to Napa and they see the valley, and at the lower end of the valley is Napa, the city of Napa. And I think a lot of people, first trip, go, let's stay in Napa. I think that's a mistake.
That is a mistake.
Yeah.
Though it is a nice downtown. I do like it.
It is a nice downtown, but what you have to remember is they have Highway 29 on one side of the valley, and then they have Highway or the Silverado Trail, which is 121, on the other side of the valley. And in the mornings, people live in Napa. And when they go all the way up to all the vineyards that are north of them, and they all are north of them, the traffic is crazy.
Horrible, yeah.
Is crazy. And then when you're trying to, if you stay in Napa and you go to some wineries around there and try to make your way north, at the end of the day, you're trying to come home. Well, guess who else is coming home? And it's another long haul. So my wife and I, the first time we went, we were the taters of wine and stayed in Napa and went, that was a mistake. Now we know to stay up in Yountville or in Calistoga is where we like to stay now, way up north. Get up in the morning, come all the way down to Napa, and then work your way back up as everybody else comes the opposite direction. So that's a little tip for you if you're going to Napa for the first time.
Yeah.
One of the things that a lot of people don't realize about that area, too, is they make great olive oil, too.
Almost every vineyard, every vineyard makes olive oil. You're exactly right, which is fantastic.
Man, I like all of these. I will say one is surprisingly really good.
Yeah.
Like, one is real good.
It's the mystery.
It is the mystery. I actually think it's a cab now. I think I was right in my first assumption that 1 and 4 are the cabs, and 2 and 3 are the Zins.
Yep.
I think on the nose it was more confusing, but now that you drink it, I think that's what it is. Man, I like the Zins too, though. They're really real
Zins are
nice.
great.
The 2 has
I'm
got.
sticking with my
You're going with that?
Frank Family. Say yours again.
Seghesio.
Seghesio. And then what? The Rodney Strong.
Rodney Strong.
And then the Adaptation.
3 has got like this kind of. It's got like this. You kind of get like a little bit of the tobacco notes, but you also get kind of more of the. It's almost got kind of like a hazelnutty kind of thing going on. It's real nice.
I'm getting now all of a sudden some more. After tasting a little spice
Four
on
is,
number
4 is definitely.
Oh yeah, it's cab all the way.
Cab, yeah.
There's no doubt. 4 is good. I like the finish, but I wish it were just a hair longer. Don't just keep hitting the sounder. You know you can. I mean, my wife says that all the time.
Very smooth. Very smooth, all of these.
Okay, so initially I thought on the nose, 4 had a better nose, 3 wasn't quite as good. And then I tasted them, and now I come back to the nose, and I'm going, I think now I like the nose on 3 better than I do on 4.
Is,
So I'm getting a little, I think I might have those
yeah. Three's got a nice nose for sure.
But I didn't pick that up initially, which is...
I think now that we're comparing all of them, I think when you first get into 4, it's very like jammy, and it just kind of it strikes you as it's different from all of them. But now that you're doing a comparison, I think 3 does have the better nose. Though I love 1's nose. I mean, it's...
So here's something I really like about California in general, and specifically Napa and Sonoma. And in France, in Italy, in Spain, depending on the region you're in, let's just take France. If you're in Bordeaux, you have to make the Bordeaux varietal wines. Left bank, right bank, Cab, Merlot, with your Cab Franc, your Petit Verdot. Those are the only varietals. You can't grow anything else there.
That's right.
If you're in Burgundy, it's Pinot and it's Chardonnay. If you're in Southern Rhone, you're going to have your GSM blend with your Grenache, your Mourvedre, and your Syrah.
Yeah.
And there's other grapes that they use in Rhone, Southern Rhone, Northern Rhone, but those are the primary 3 that when you think of Rhone Valley, those are the grapes that you think about. What I like about California and Napa is that the producers out there have the freedom. There are no restrictions or rules based on where you're at of what you can grow. Whatever you think you can make work, you can do it. So
and Napa, they do it.
Yeah, and Napa got on the map because of Cabernet and Chardonnay.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Chardonnay gets all the love from the 1976 tasting, the 73 Chateau Montelena, the Chardonnay. But people don't always know or don't remember that Stag's Leap won for best Cabernet.
Yes.
So huge in those 2, well, primarily the Cabs. That kicked off Cabs in Napa. I mean, Montelena also kicked off Napa being on the map. People started to give them some respect, if you will. And by the way, if you've never seen that movie, Bottle Shock.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
have you seen it?
I have, yes.
Great movie. If you haven't seen that movie, definitely watch the movie Bottle Shock. Got some great actors that are in there, but it's just a fantastic show, and it really is an entertaining way to kind of understand how Napa came to be Napa.
And to me, the movie kind of shows the spirit of like the area, because it's like really just farmers, cowboy type, winemaking, that kind of stuff, experimental. Let's see how we can do this.
And rising tides lift all ships. They truly believe that. They helped each other out. They didn't want one to succeed without the other succeeding. Which was great to see that, and they're still that way there.
Yeah, but if you look at it, I mean, one thing I love about California and in general, as far as wines go, you can grow anything. And
you're getting to my point. That's exactly right.
And another thing I like about California is on the label, it generally tells you exactly. Well, not always, but a lot of times on the label it tells you what the blend is.
Well, a lot of times what the blend is, but at least what the primary grape is.
That's right.
Yeah, it'll tell you. So the rule in Napa is, if you want to call it Cabernet Sauvignon or Merlot or a Malbec, it has to have at least 75% of that grape to be listed that way. And then you can blend it with, Merlot, Malbec, Petit Verdot, Syrah, whatever you want to do after that. But to be labeled that way. Now, it could be 100% Cab. Napa seems to do that a lot more than the French do, or even Super Tuscans in
Italy.
Yeah. So
now there's a great winery in California that has a whole history, which is Gergich.
Yes,
and I think he had something to do
Gergich
to get
Hills,
on
right?
to get Gergich Hills to get on in the early late 70s and making some fantastic wines, and they have some great just all around. Their Zin is really good, and great cabs, a great winery, and they've got a large history with them.
Yeah.
See, I haven't had a lot of Zins from Napa. There's a few producers that I have, but I don't know. Maybe I'm missing the boat on that. I don't see it produce as much as Merlot or Cab or but I love a Zin. I love a good Zin.
I don't know that it is produced as much in Napa.
I don't think so either.
Cab is king, But I don't know that every producer makes it. I don't think they do. I think it's just a few in Napa, in the valley, that does.
Yeah. Well, I really like the grape. I mean, I'm a fan. And I think for a long time they thought it was, like a grape that was like indigenous to the area, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's I guess it goes back to Croatia or something like that.
But to get back to your point, Francois, it's a great point. There's a couple other wineries I'll mention that were huge in helping get Napa on the map once they kind of got the drive and really, or the drive and attention after the 1996 or 76 tasting was Robert Mondavi.
Yeah, Mondavi,
who
yes.
Dumped in a ton of money into that area and built facilities and vineyards that competed with chateaus in, France and everything, where it was really an experience to go and visit. And, they're not Robert Mondavi anymore. They still have the label, but they're owned by a big conglomerate now. But it's still an experience to go. I would say if you're going to go to Napa for the first time, going to Mondavi should be on your list. It's really a great place to go and visit to really kind of get how things came to be in Napa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your, some of your favorites in Napa producers?
Okay, so most of my favorite producers are the local farmers. The guy that when you talk to him or his wife or his kids, because it's family owned, are the ones that are actually making the wine and harvesting and crushing and bottling and labeling. So three of my favorites would be, probably four. Trefethen, which is a little bit more distributed than a lot of them. Jim Ragushi over at Ragushi, he makes some great stuff. And then if you're going up Silverado Trail where Ragushi is and you go a little bit north on the east side of where the mountain is, you're going to run into Schaefer and Quixote and those places. Well, mixed in there in those same, because I'm mentioning those wines because they're thought to be fantastic, and they are, but mixed in there is a little family called Robinson and another little family called Taylor family. And they make some of the best wines we've ever had. So they're some of our favorites as
nice.
well. Yeah.
Nice.
So, but when you get into the bigger producers that you can get around that are distributed quite largely, Farniente is one that we really enjoy. And they just released what they call their entry-level cab. Now, if you know Farniente, they're typically around $100 a bottle. So their entry-level cab that they put out is $47.
Yeah,
which is still
it's still expensive, but like one of my favorite producers is Phelps. You know that, like I love Phelps, and but they've got an entry level bottle that's like, how much is that thing?
$30.
Yeah, $30. I mean,
and we love that one. It's a great bottle.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not the Insignia or the Bacchus or any of this kind of stuff, but it's really solid.
Even Joseph Phelps, their cab is $62. So
yeah,
it's not break
it's
the
not,
bank.
Break the bank.
$62 still a lot of money, I know, but
yeah.
But there's a lot of solid wines from Napa that are in that, I would say, $15 and I would say probably more $18 range to $30 range. You can get some great cabs in that price range from Napa. And, we're talking about labels earlier, Matt. It's important to know one thing. You said that in Napa, the varietal. And that's great because people want to know what they're drinking. Because most people go, I'm drinking a cab. And to the point I was making earlier, you don't always know what the blend is. People think it's 100 because it says Cabernet Sauvignon. It's 100%. It's not.
It's not.
It's usually blended with 8% of this, 4% of this, 6% of that, whatever the blend would be to get to 100%. But it's predominantly that grape.
Right.
And that's the way it is in Bordeaux. All Bordeauxs are typically blended. Very rarely will you find 100% of something. I think you're starting to see more of it, but for the longest time, you didn't see anything coming out of Bordeaux that wasn't blended. That's why it's called a Bordeaux, the varietals of Cab and Merlot and Petit Syrah.
Well, I mean, one of our favorite, becoming one of our new favorite wines is Cab Franc. And you can get that from different producers over in Napa and that kind of thing. Well, I mean, it's a blending grape generally in France, but it's kind of cool that in say like California and Napa, hey, you know what? We'll make it the primary grape, and we'll make it taste really good.
Yeah. Well, one thing I wanted to make sure everybody who doesn't know Napa that well or wants to get into drinking wines from Napa, when you look at labels in the old world like we were talking about, as long as you know what region you're getting, you know what's in the bottle. Mm-hmm. So we already said that in California, you don't have to worry about that. They tell you what's in the bottle. But in California, what you have to look at and be aware of is they have to tell you where the grapes come from in California.
That's right.
So when you look at a bottle of wine, if it says California, I'm not buying it because it could be from Temecula down by San Diego. Mm-hmm. We don't know. So it goes from California, and then it might go Sonoma coast or northern coast or where. But the smaller you get to the region on the label, the more information of where it was. So say it says, Napa Valley, and then it says Rutherford, and then it says estate. This tells me that it's not only in Napa Valley, but all the grapes come from Rutherford district, and then all the grapes were grown on that estate. Yeah. So I know the quality is going to be that much better. So when you're looking at buying wines from Napa, you want to make sure that you know where the grapes are coming from. And the regions, we're talking about Sonoma today. I'm going to let you talk a little bit more about what you think are really good regions in Sonoma. But in Napa, you want it to say Napa Valley. Even if it doesn't say Rutherford or Oak Knoll or Calistoga, as long as it says Napa Valley, that means the fruit could have came from anywhere in the valley. Right. It's still going to be good quality fruit. You're going to get a good wine. You're not going to be disappointed with that wine.
Right.
But if it gets to Calistoga or Rutherford or some of these other AVAs within there, then you're getting even better.
Yeah, even better wine. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the same thing kind of goes for the Sonoma type stuff. A lot of times somebody will just put Sonoma on the label.
Yes.
And then they'll say, like you say, they'll talk about the coast or like they'll talk about whatever. But really, if you're looking at like Dry Creek Valley, okay, that's and you know what the primary varietal is on the grape and what grows well there. That's how you can really kind of isolate it down and say, okay, like that's kind of where you want to be. But I mean, we haven't talked about this at all, and I want to save this for a different episode. But there's some amazing sourcers and blenders out there that source stuff from.
Well, and let's be honest, farmers are growers. There's people in Napa within these districts, Rutherford, Oak Knoll, Calistoga, St. Helena. All they do is grow grapes, and they sell it to people who make wine.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. But the producers know they have contracts, could be for a decade or more. Right.
Yeah.
That every year you grow and you harvest, I get your grapes at this much per ton so I can make my wine. And so that's not an uncommon thing. You're exactly right. And
nothing wrong with that.
No looking down on that.
Yeah.
I mean, some guys are great at growing and nurturing and, getting the grapes to be spectacular. And other people are great at, putting it in the bottle, making wine out of it. So nothing wrong with that at all.
The winemaker has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah.
Hugely. But I always hear winemakers, Francois, tell me that when it's been a good year from the climate and everything's worked, not too much rain, the right amount of rain, everything's been perfect. He said she might say, I'm always nervous that I don't screw it up.
Correct, yes.
Because, you've produced and given me this great fruit. Don't screw it up. So one thing I do want to mention about Napa Valley, we talked about just the label Napa Valley, but there could be something else that you see on a label that's going to tell you if you see a high price, don't be shocked. Yeah. That's any mountain region. So whether it's Atlas Mountain or Howe Mountain, anything that has a mountain on it, that's going to, the level of quality with the fruit from the mountain region is going to be so much better. You're gonna pay a little bit more for that, but I'm gonna tell you it's worth it when you do because it's fantastic.
Yeah, well, those grapes that struggle, they make good wine. But I will say this about our blind. I like all of these wines.
They're all very good.
I think they're all quite good.
It's hard to pick one from the other.
It is. I think I've narrowed it down, but I like all these. I'm just thinking that I think 1 and 4 are the cabs.
I agree.
And I think 2 and 3 are the Zins.
I think 3. I think 3's my favorite.
Might be going that way.
I like 3 a lot too. I do too. But you know what? 1 is really interesting.
Yeah, one's the dark horse.
Kind of the one that doesn't fit in the group a little bit, but not because it's not good. It's just kind of different, you know. I mean, 4's solid.
4's a solid cab. It is.
I don't know how much we're kind of ruining our palate. We probably should be having some water or something to rinse our palate.
But you know how we do. We're not like pros here. We're just
what?
You know,
What?
I mean, you know, we're just well, maybe you are.
I'm a professional.
Yeah.
I'm a professional drinker for sure. What's the verdict? We're getting that sign.
I think the ladies are hungry.
Yes.
Yeah, they might be.
It's time to eat, so we can drink some more.
All right, I'm going to call my shot.
Okay, go ahead, Carter.
I think 2 is the Frank family. I think 3 is the Seghesio Old Vines. I think 1 is the Rodney Strong, and I think 4 is what's the one that you brought, Rob? I forgot. Adaptation.
Okay. Francois?
I would agree with that. I don't. You guys drink these wines. I don't drink them that often, so you're a little more familiar with them than I am.
But you would say that 1 and 3 are the Zins. You don't have to.
No. I think 2. I think 2 and 3 are the Zins. I think 1 and 1 and 4. I think are the cabs.
Okay, I'm going to go with. I'm still sticking with my original. 1 is Frank Family Zin. 2 is, say it again.
Seghesio.
And then 3 is Rodney Strong, and 4 is Adaptation.
Okay.
And I'll stick with that. So.
All right. So what do we got?
We're about to find out.
Let's. Jan, you suck.
1 is Frank Family Zin.
Okay.
Oh.
2 is your Zin.
Okay.
3 is your cab, like I said.
Okay.
And 4 is Adaptation.
Well, I totally did not get anything right. No, I got 4. I got 4 right.
And I totally
like
did not get anything wrong.
Oh, so then you are the pro here.
Yes.
But
this
okay.
Time, everybody, every squirrel gets a nut.
So what I'll say is, like, I knew this Rodney Strong would be good because it's a 2015, and I think that vintage is really solid. Yeah. So I thought that would be good. You know, the Frank family is freaking good.
Yes, it's a very good Zin, but you can still get the pepper. It is bigger and jammier.
It fooled us.
Yeah,
it's bigger and jammier. Yeah, I think that's what just got me guessing. But man, I like all of these wines, and you know, for the price point, yeah, I mean, from a comparison, like California is kind of expensive. You know, it's just.
But we understand why.
Yeah,
I mean, it's expensive real estate, which when they have to pay for it, they have to, you know. So we get it, but they still produce some great wines.
Yeah, fantastic.
And you can find values. This Zin, this Frank family, for $26. I'll drink that every day.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a little bit more expensive than Seghesio, but it's really nice. I think it was $33, something like that. So nothing like too crazy. You know, you expect cabs to be a little bit more expensive, though. I mean,
absolutely.
You know. And one thing I'll say about Sonoma, though, make sure if you go to Sonoma, you do stop in Sonoma, the city, and go to the Oakville Grocery.
They have one in Sonoma as well?
I think that's the one that we went. Oh, yeah.
Napa, they have one.
I think maybe it's a different one, but I thought it was.
Because I was going to mention definitely going there, because there's bringing up food. There's some great food places, just not going to get into them all.
I'm going to have to look this up because maybe
Oakville
I'm off.
Grocers is on Highway 29 going north, getting up into St. Helena. Which is fantastic. Now, they may have another store in Sonoma. It wouldn't surprise me if they did because they do really well in Napa. But I would also say Gott's Roadside, for eating food. If you've never, it was on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
Oh yeah,
but it's just a little diner. I mean, it's like an old. Think of a Sonic type place where you just pull in and, well, you don't even drive in and get it, but you have to walk up, order your food. You sit outside. They've got milkshakes. They've got fries, onion rings. They've got.
Oh yeah, we ate there. Jan and I ate there. Yeah, it was fantastic. Well, you're right. It is in Napa, Oakville. So I'm just stupid. But
they may have had two, but I was going to mention that too. It's a great place for breakfast and coffee. They got Danishes and things in the morning.
We actually did a little a wine tasting there. Like
did you
had, just for fun.
Well, I would say this: if you you went to some wineries and you thought you wanted to buy wine, but you didn't get a chance to, you can buy it there. They've got tons of wine in the store.
Oh yeah, and find your local UPS. When you're there, so you can ship it back home.
Francois, favorite memory of going to Napa?
Oh, just the whole experience. I mean, like, so when in October, and when you talked about the like the fog above the vineyards and all the grapes, picking the grapes, the weather. The weather was great. Getting around, and the surprise for me was the olive oil place.
Olive oil is huge.
Oh yeah.
There's a place in town that's all they do is sell the olive oil, and you have to pay them cash, and they ship it to you. And you're like,
really?
Yeah, they don't take credit cards. And sure enough, like, a couple weeks later, my olive oil came in.
It made me
problem.
a little nervous.
It did back then, but it was. And you have to bring somebody that doesn't drink that can drive for you.
Yeah, or you rent a driver for
rent a driver because 3-4 tastings a day can get to you quickly.
I'll tell you one thing that I enjoyed, and if you don't mind getting up early, and my wife will tell you every day that we're there, I was up by 6 o'clock and out the door by 6:20.
Jesus.
Seeing the sun come up over the mountains, getting some pictures, that fog that we're talking about. But every day that we've been there, I would always see the hot air balloons going up.
Oh, yes.
And over the mountains. And it was just beautiful to get some photos and things of those kind of. So those are things that, don't sleep in. Get up, go out and experience what Napa's like from, sunrise to sunset. It's a true experience.
It sounds amazing. I'll probably just catch the sunset.
Yeah, I figured you'd probably give you a cup of coffee then.
Yeah. All right, Rob. Okay, let's just get. We do need to settle this. What are your favorites?
How would I rank them?
How would you rank them?
Okay. You might be a little surprised because I think most people listening are going to go, well, the cabs are 1 and 2. And for me, they're not.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, for me, Adaptation was my favorite.
Okay.
I will tell you that initially I liked the nose on Adaptation better than the nose on the Rodney Strong.
Yeah.
But after tasting, coming back, I liked the nose better on the Rodney Strong. But I still like the cab, the actual palate better on the Adaptation.
Okay.
To me, it's bigger. It's more full-bodied. The tannins are nice. It's well-structured. To me, the Rodney Strong was just a little thinner on my palate than the Adaptation.
Okay.
Fair. So what I would say is Adaptation's 1. Frank Family Zin is my number 2.
Okay.
And then the Rodney Strong is my number 3.
Okay, and then
and because Frank Family, it's a big, bold Zin. I mean, this is a big, fruity Zin.
It's super fruity.
If you get confused that it's a cab, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Yeah, I think that one is the wild card for sure. 1.
And then yours in
the Seghesio.
That would be my, which is still solid.
Yeah,
there's not a bad wine here.
I agree. Now my order is going to be very different from yours.
Okay. I mean, you were wrong when you guessed them, so I mean, go ahead.
Yeah. That's okay. I think I picked the Rodney Strong 1. I agree with you're saying that like as maybe from a mouthfeel perspective, it's slightly thinner, but from an overall perspective, I love the nose on it. It's just fantastic. The
nose wins, but on the palate, on the front of the palate, on the mid palate, and the finish, the Adaptation wins for me.
I just think that the Rodney Strong kind of like hits you right down the freeway here. I mean, it's just
Well,
it's nice. It's got kind of like a tobacco-y type of note to it.
So you're going Rodney Strong 1.
Rodney Strong 1. I'm going to do the Frank Family 2. This is just really nice. I mean,
it's just for $26.
It's a go-to for us at our house here. We love Frank Family Zin. So, yeah, it's fantastic. I think 3, I'm going with the Seghesio. And then 4, I'm going with the Adaptation.
Really?
Yeah,
You are a young wine drinker.
Oh my gosh! I like it. Like you said, there's not a bad wine in here, so
right.
we're being just nitpicky and character wise and all that kind of stuff. But what I'll say about the Adaptation, it's good overall, but nothing like I go whoa. Like that. I didn't have that whoa moment.
Really?
And
okay.
that's just for me. But
I'm not going to argue with you. Let's see if Francois is going to be on the winning team or the losing team.
Oh, I think I'm with Matt. I think the when you look at the other ones, to me
Good choice.
They were just smoother. Like they just went down easy. Adaptation's a little bolder. It's if you're a big heavy cab drinker, that's where. But those 3 were very surprising to me.
I just want to let you guys know
that Rodney Strong was like, I thought it was fantastic. It's the first time I've had it, but that's a good vintage, and it's just overall, just like I said, it goes down the highway, just cruising down, no surprises, and easy going. Very, I thought they had the best. I thought they had the best nose.
Me too.
Now the Frank Zin was also surprising. That's a great bottle for $23.
Yeah,
definitely.
You can't beat that one.
That could be an everyday wine.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
everyday wine.
You don't feel bad about drinking that anytime. You don't feel bad about buying it for $20.
No.
You could literally bring that to any dinner party that you go to.
Yeah.
People would not be disappointed.
And people wouldn't be disappointed.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So, just so you guys know, the 1993 Girard that we have open is very similar to Adaptation. So don't worry about even trying it. We'll go ahead.
You know what?
Take care of that for tonight.
You
guys just.
You know what, Rob? It looks just like the Adaptation. I mean, exactly.
I don't think it's gonna drink like that.
Maybe a hair different.
Okay, so obviously I was right on the blind. I got them all right. You all didn't, and then I was right on ranking them as well. So.
You are a humble host. I will say that, but I mean, I've always valued your ability to be extremely humble.
Yeah. Well, Matt and I decided before this podcast, we said, just let him have his way, okay, Francois?
Yeah, I mean, that's just the best way to go.
Yeah. Because we still got dinner and we still got more to drink, so let's just let him have it his way and we'll be okay.
Carter does that all the time. Yana says the same thing.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, at least there's no loser in this lineup.
I agree.
I think that all of these are really solid wines. And it's just going to go to individual taste when it comes to this stuff. But yeah,
totally agree.
So anyway, all right, man.
All right, well, that was a fun episode, guys. I know we kind of were just ranting and going all over the place, but I
sometimes
still enjoyed
those are the best ones, right?
I enjoyed talking about it.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, good wines too.
Great wines.
We got some other stuff to enjoy tonight.
Yeah, let's go eat some food. We'll dive into that 1993 and see if it's any good.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, well, thanks everyone for listening to this episode of Food, Wine, and Whiskey in Your Own Backyard. And until our next episode, enjoy your next pour.